force of your bond. A power like life itself, unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dyad in the Force. This is episode... What episode are we on? Are we like 198?
It's 197. Yeah, I think it's 197. I said 196 on 195. I keep on doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll call this the one with Con! You'll see what that means later.
Yeah, hopefully. He said see you soon, so we'll see. Welcome to another episode, guys. Episode 197, the one about Skeleton Crew, episode 1 and 2. Shout out to Phineas McCormick, Master James Kenobi, The Time Trav, X-Core Gamer Skills, Nick Knock, Bluppard VO, The Geek of All Trades. And this message is for the clock side. Be sure you're subscribed to us here in case things go off the handlay. I'm gonna spend the next 5 minutes trying to make it a little bit more aesthetically centered because I'm OCD about that.
Yes. Now, I was, for everyone on, the YT side, who wasn't here before, I was giving my theory to Pep here, and I'm curious what you guys all think about it. Anyways, here goes. I think, hot take, in order to make good Star Wars, your reference, your motivation, your inspiration cannot be Star Wars. And what I mean when I say that is, when George was originally creating Star Wars, he was referencing, Dune, he was referencing all sorts of different things, and it was awesome. But if we want to kind of relive that feeling, I feel like Skeleton Crew kind of has this magical feeling because it takes us back to when we were kids, where we're having little bits of, of E.T. in there, little bits of the Sandlot in there, little bits of, all this stuff. As
Little Rascals.
We have
just
Little Rascals. There's Pirates of the Caribbean. There's all this stuff, and that's what makes it so good, because that's all this stuff inside of a Star Wars sweater. And I feel like whenever something is made where they're like, we were inspired by Star Wars itself, it ends up just derivative. It ends up feeling like a snake trying to eat its own tail.
So what you're saying is it needs to take inspiration from what inspired Star Wars.
Yes.
How's this? So best I could do. A little bit more.
Yeah, that's better.
I'm gonna make the A a little bit more. However,
it's like if someone went up to, I don't know, Big Bear, Lake Tahoe, or something like that, and they got their paint set out and they painted a beautiful landscape of what they were seeing, right? If someone else wanted to paint that landscape, I think they should go there and paint that landscape, not look at this picture and paint a landscape based off of the picture. Does that make sense? Let's see.
I made the A a little bit more.
Geek of All Trades says, I get what you mean. Take aspects from other genres and stories, and through that amalgamation, create new Star Wars stories. The fandom just has to be open-minded about openly receptive to the new. Yeah, it's other. How do I put it? I love the expanded universe and the books and stuff in there, but there are some of them where you can tell the author was just like, what if we mix Luke Skywalker and Han Solo together, you know? And that's what the premise was. It's not bad, but it ends up we end up just treading the same water, you know? This is how we inject new in there.
Yeah. So I feel like go ahead and do what you need to do while I vamp with the chat. I feel like
I'll still be listening. I'm still plugged in.
The way we do that is if we go back to like Dawn of the Jedi and we take inspiration from Avatar. And that might be a good usage of what Choco is suggesting when it comes to taking things that inspire Star Wars to make Star Wars. And also kind of taking from things inspired by Star Wars and giving back. The EU did rely a lot on OG trilogy references. That's all they had, right? Like when you were an author back then, and you were licensed or you were contracted to write a book on Star Wars, everyone wanted more of the OG trilogy. They wanted a continuation of Luke's story, of Leia's story, and there really wasn't a dire want for something new until the prequels came out. And I feel like that's where like a lot of the stories were until then.
Yeah. And it depends on the story. Definitely some of them were, but like, for instance, the OG Thrawn trilogy, right? We had the original characters in there. But the premise was, what if we put Sherlock in space and he was the villain? You know, that's cool. You know, that's a way to inject life. And we created Thrawn, this character who is so beloved to this day. You know?
Yeah. Spooky Kitty says, "Hi dudes, am I late?" You're not late. You're just in time, as a wizard should be. VGC says, "What did I miss?" Not much. Not much. But we are increasing our efforts to get everyone on the red play button side in case things go the way of
tits
the
up.
dodo.
Yes. Hey, Ryan Rants. Hello. I've been enjoying your content, and we got to talk anime. I've been trying to make anime content. Things are just, I don't know, they're always wild. But yeah, it's been good stuff. Hey, we got St. Pat in the chat. Hello.
St. Pat.
Which one? Lots of them. Listen, anime is coming back this next year like crazy. Did you see the lineup? You see what we're getting back? What we got coming?
What do we got coming?
Just more stuff.
I mean, anime is
one
always
of the
good.
well, but I mean, like, you know, obviously, like, we got season 2 of Solo Leveling coming. We got they're bringing back Fire Force, right? Which
do you want to go see the Reawakening? I have a feeling that's like a season 1 recap movie, but I mean, if there's any hint of like original
new
animation
nuggets
to it.
Yeah. The Apothecary Diaries is coming back. Love that show. There's a bunch, and of just a lot of continuation shows. Let's see.
How's it going, Chase? X-Core? Lots. So Khan's gonna join in about 10 minutes. Did we want to go into lore and cover that? Something.
Oh, sorry. Lord of the Rings: A War for Rohirrim.
War
When
of
is
the
that?
Rohirrim? Or
Yeah.
Rohan?
Listen, I can't say anything when it comes to that. I can't even say our good friend Sima Limiles.
Sil Ma Reme.
But I'm excited for it. Let's see.
Is it Rohirrim or is it Rohan?
It's the first one you said.
Okay. Because you saw the video I sent you, right? Because that was... Maybe you sent it to me. No, I sent it to you. For some reason, these apps are listening to us. Because as soon as you asked me about mustard, like, you don't know that reference? Come on now. Because, like, I'm a Lupe person, not like a Kendrick. And the first video I saw opening up TikTok was, "The beacons are lit. Condor calls for aid, and we will answer." And then he goes, "Master, the row hit him." And then it goes, "Master!" Yeah.
That's good. Season 2 of Kaiju number 8 is coming up this year. Windbreaker season 2 is coming up this year. More Dr. Stone.
You got Khan Skywalker coming on? We do have Khan Skywalker coming on. I think they're the same species. They're humans who only have feet and play keyboards, so I just figure Max is always representation for the handy-capable. Max Rebo is an Ortolan, and they have since confirmed that Neil is not an Ortolan.
Yeah, they have not told us what species he is, but they have specifically said he is not the same species.
Wheel of Time. Listen, can we just all agree that time is moving on, and then we're gonna just get things coming back? Because you know, Ahsoka season 2, Andor season 2, like. The longer we wait in the calendars, in the days and the months, the more things are going to come back. And we're going to get movies. The film is set 200 years before Lord of the Rings. So that would be... So... No, Aragorn's not in it.
Let's see.
Want to continue to support even if it's just small. If the new law goes into... Is there a higher sub tier on the red play button side besides just sub? There is a members section, yes. It's called the Dyad Squad. You can see it on Forward Into the Black. And you can become a member on the red play button side. I do appreciate your support,
you get
Eric.
you get to pick a ship, you know, that you get to pilot. Let's see, final MJ season. Yeah. What the heck is a Farrakhan in the Windu book? I need to know what Chulak looks like. Yeah, how did you picture Chulak in your head?
Well, first of all, I didn't really have time to picture it because, like, when they introduced it, it was like, oh, but he's also like interlocked with a Rodian, and now I was just like, how do we reconcile that appearance? So like,
so for anyone who doesn't know, in the latest Mace Windu book, The Glass Abyss, he comes up against a foe, and this is a foe who is a beast, like capable of killing Jedi and all this stuff. But one of the things the species does is it takes someone else, another person, and it merges them into their body. So they are no longer either; they become both. Right? You remember how when Goku and Vegeta become Vegito, they're kind of a dick, but like also kind of not, because it doesn't have one of their personalities as both. It's similar to that, except it does still have two heads, and they still talk, but they talk in unison. They do all the stuff in unison, and they're connected. So we were trying to figure out how exactly that worked. Shannon Jones says, a real they them, actually. Yeah, it was definitely non-binary. But so the way I pictured it is kind of like,
I'm trying to picture it.
Kind of like
I'm picturing
the,
it, but I don't have the name of the species.
kind of like the big guy is like spooning the Rhodian, and he's in the middle. This is kind of how I pictured it. So the thing it's a wider creature with a smaller one in the middle. So it has 4 arms, it has 4 legs, it can stand on 2 legs and kick you in the face still, you know, and that's what makes it so tough. And that's why it brings out its like staff thing, and it's like, you know. That's how I pictured it.
I'm trying to find a decent analog.
Or maybe it kind of swims around through each other, and kind of like the person in Naruto that they fight against in the Sasuke retrieval arc.
The bone guy?
Before the bone guy, the one that that Shiba fights against.
Shiba.
Kiba. Yeah. The one that Kiba fights against. I was mixing up Shino and Kiba. They're like twins, and they like come out of each other's body and fight. And he goes back in, and he's like, I'm tired. And he goes and like swims back into his brother's body. It's really weird.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Time Trav says, but seriously, I think the Elephant Kid definitely grows up to become Barbar. I think he grows up to become Hooter. He for sure, like, Hooter looks like a degenerate version of him that has a lot of trunk piercings that he took out.
Okay, so the best way I could give you an analog to how I visualized Chulok is a Yard Rat from Dragon Ball Z. But with 6 eyes.
That's going to be an OnlyFans charge,
become a
sir.
member of the Dyad Squadron.
Hey, shout out to Eggy for that sound, and shout out to Eric Schnelker for joining the Dyad Squadron as a leader, as a squadron leader. Appreciate your support.
So, if you could fly any ship in Star Wars, Eric, what ship are you flying?
You gotta let us know. You gotta answer that question.
Does this creature with multiple heads work like the Hydra from Greek mythology? No. So the Hydra heads were all independent and would fight each other. I mean, these two were linked, had their consciousness linked. So they would speak in both of them in one voice. At least at first. But if they started to desync, they could start to desync. That was something that happens. Yeah, it was an interesting take, and I think that might have been one of the things that made me not super love the book as much, was because I couldn't fully invest in that villain, you know?
Ebon Hawk or the Outrider? What about the Outhawk or the Ebon Rider? Oh, well, never, not the Ebon Rider, never mind.
I mean, I can call her in. I'm sorry.
Maybe Raven's Claw? Is that a starship from Harry Potter? I am Raven.
Well, you said the Raven's Claw, and I specifically thought of a Star Trek ship. Is that just my brain?
All right, well, let me know. I have 3 options that you gave.
The Raven's Claw.
Whose ship is that?
So that's why I couldn't think of it. Okay, so it's it's Kyle Katarn's second ship.
Ah.
His first ship is the Moldy Crow, and that's what I always associate with him.
All right, I'm gonna put you in the Raven's Claw for now. I mean, functionally, it doesn't do anything, but
it's cool.
the Hydra's heads would grow back after being cut off if you didn't cut off all of the heads. Is this in regards to something? Does this creature with multiple heads work like the Hydra from Greek mythology?
No.
Which creature
If
we're
you
talking about?
chopped off its head, then one of them would just be dead.
Oh.
And he would have to separate.
Wait, I'm still early in Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta stays a dick for the most part,
Yeah.
but, and I hate to say this in the context, but I'll say it anyway. He stays a dick but grows a heart. Just not in the same region. Did you look up Yarga?
You know what though? I did. But I also seem to be having some memory issues with my computer, so I'm trying to also shut things down. Which is weird. I have a lot of RAM, but I probably should have restarted before we got going here.
Do I click join room with camera? If you're going to the link that I sent you, yes.
All right, there we go. Now we're starting to cook. Do you guys think they will bring Windu back? Do you even want them to? Listen, I want myself some more Mace Windu content. I just want it in the past. I want young Windu. I want a series that
With Kislan Mir.
Yeah, I want a series with his master Kislan Mir, but I really want it to exemplify the fact that Mace Windu was on the same track to be Anakin. That's what I think would be really cool, to show someone who is struggling with their anger, is struggling with their emotion, and how they overcome it. Because the two characters, I still maintain that Mace Windu would have been the best teacher for Anakin. That Anakin needed more discipline, not less discipline, and I think it's wild when people think he needed. Oh, why did you just let him do whatever he wanted whenever he wanted? That's like when a child throws a fit because they can't have candy for dinner, and you're like, well, why don't you just give them candy for dinner?
Let's see here. Who is playing young Windu?
Ooh. Who would we cast for young Windu? Oh, to answer the actual question, though, Jedi Junkie, no, I think he's dead. I think he's dead, and I don't want them to bring him back, because I almost feel like there's too many questions to answer. Like, if he didn't die, is he just chilling? He's like, oh, I gave it the old college try, going home. I can't see him doing that. I also can't see him being conscious when he flew out the window.
How young are we talking about? Like a teenager?
I need to see a young Mace Windu who has just. Depends on how much content we get, right? But if I had to choose like one movie or one series, it would be when he's a brand new knight. Maybe he's a brand new knight and goes on his first mission with his master when they are equals. Maybe something like that.
Because my first thought was Makad Brooks, but he's 44 and is an inch taller than Sam. So we're looking at someone that's in their 20s.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Fetish McCormick says, if they did younger Windu, I would go with animation. I would actually prefer that as well. I would like to do that. I think a rematch with a Sidious fight with Vader would be sick, but where to put that, that makes sense. Yeah, certain things, that moment to me is very special, so I would hate to kind of cloud it. And it's my opinion, it's cool if you guys disagree, but like, Mace Windu, beats Sidious, and in that moment, Anakin has to make a choice. Anakin was raised knowing the Chosen One prophecy. He knows what he is supposed to do for the Jedi, for the galaxy. Palpatine says, "You must choose," like a spooky ghost. And he makes a choice, and he chooses Palpatine over the thing that he has been set up his entire life to do and be. And I think that's such an important moment that I would hate to do anything to cloud it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Eric says, you may or may not have an answer to this, but how is my data stored on your website? Just trying to make sure my password isn't going to be plain text. Everything on our website is handled by WordPress through plugins, and it's fully encrypted. It's not something that I put together by myself.
The password is just a text field that sends it.
Yeah, it's all handled by professional developers. I didn't put it together over a weekend on full Stack Overflow. Just like how users. Anyways, my first thought. Let's introduce our guest first before we get into this this discussion, because I think it's a great discussion with Mace Windu. But we're joined by a black man. I'm just kidding. We're joined by Khan.
What's going
Palpatine.
on, fellas? Palpatine 100%.
How's it going, man? Introduce yourself to the crowd. Let them know what you do and where to find you.
I'm Khan Skywalker. You can mostly find me on TikTok at Khan Skywalker, obviously. I'm just a nerd, to be honest. Mostly Star Wars, Harry Potter, all types of things.
Oh, yeah? What house you in?
Oh, Hufflepuff.
Dang.
Yep.
You
goofball.
seem like a Ravenclaw guy. I thought I was like, yeah, here's another Ravenclaw, but you gotta have
Back and
your...
forth. That's like my secondary choice. That's what I got on Hogwarts Legacy, though, Ravenclaw. So if we're being technical, I guess I'll claim Ravenclaw.
But since you're a Hufflepuff, you gotta get your McDonald's apple pie. Choco looks like he just saw a
I don't
ghost.
know what that means.
I've never been on this interface before.
It's great.
It definitely looks quite handy, to be honest.
Yeah.
There we go.
If you don't know who Khan Skywalker is, I believe their on TikTok is Khan Skywalker, right?
Mm-hmm. Khan Skywalker, it'll pop up. Khan D Skywalker will also pop up.
For some reason, did you have a channel before that was Khan D Savage?
It was. I have an artist channel.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
James Kenobi says Khan is a legend. Good to see you on here, man.
Hey, what's up?
Khan!
Definitely not a legend, bro. No, these guys are legends, to be honest.
Now, even
I don't know, man. You were
fighting.
rubbing your elbows and hobnobbing with
listen.
actors and whatnot.
I mean nothing specific about this analog, but I feel like we are the Rebel Alliance and you are Saw Gerrera.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of fighting in the trenches, you know?
Watching my mouth has been an issue for a while, so.
Have you ever
Yeah.
wanted to
appreciate
respond?
it, though.
Have you ever wanted to respond with lies, deception?
Definitely.
Every day, more lies.
Or just the bombs.
Boa gullet.
Spooky Kitty is a Slytherin, apparently. Oh, well, I don't know if that's a good thing.
Slytherin,
I mean,
no way.
Slytherins are known for their skills and their aptitudes. Can't say much about their founder, though.
The only thing Spooky Kitty is known for is
Natalie Portman.
slithering into Natalie Portman's DMs. You know.
Sheesh.
I just started following him recently on TikTok. Let's go. You should probably follow him on other platforms soon.
Oh man, hopefully something happens.
Are you on any other platforms?
I have Instagram. I made Blue Sky recently. I made Lemon 8 today, just because everyone's talking about the TikTok ban.
Lemonade?
Lemon 8.
Jesus.
You haven't heard of it yet?
No.
Oh yeah. It's
I've
just
been-
because it's easy to link it with TikTok. It like brings your followers over as soon as they make it as well.
Excuse me?
It's strange. It's strange. I know.
Okay.
Does it bring them over, or does it invite them to follow you?
I'm actually not sure. I have 3 right now, so I haven't. It's not a big sample size for me to know.
I think that answers my question, though.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean,
They might not have made
it's
that
implying
yet.
that you have to create an account and link it with your TikTok, and then potentially you would follow anyone who you follow already.
It's kind of like
But
what
I never
Blue
heard
Sky-
about it.
It's kind of like what Blue Sky is, because it's decentralized. Their API works in that if Blue Sky goes down, you could take your followers with you to another platform.
Yeah.
That is true of Spooky. Yes. So
Jedi
we're
Junkie
talking.
said, got sick of defending everything all the time. I'm not sure what you mean. But I'm still gonna defend Star Wars. You know,
I've started to less and less call it defense, and more called it common sense, because we're starting to we've been quote unquote defending the most like simplest things that are either like shown or told or found out and discovered by the simplest of Googles, or just paying attention to the show.
It's definitely the simplest of Googles, man. Because half the stuff is from things I haven't even read.
yeah. Well, something else that's like been plaguing the fandom recently is people will Google something and will take the Google AI answer and think it's correct.
Oh no.
And you're like, you still have to. That's why I never say, just Google it or Google is free, because even that takes some type of brain power. You know what I mean? Like, oftentimes, the Google AI answer will grab something from Fanon.
Yes. So it'll also just be wrong within the context of what it reads first. So I asked, I asked Google, is Rey a Skywalker? Or not Google, ChatGPT, is Rey a Skywalker? And it said, no, she is not a Skywalker, but she takes the name of Rey Skywalker. And then I asked GPT, is Rey's name Rey Skywalker? Yes, her name is Rey Skywalker. And I'm just like, can you imagine like an AI is crawling like some forum, and it's like taking the answers from these nuggets, as I say.
Not only that, but like AI has been known to create its own references, depending on how you use it.
Like
Yeah,
asking,
it's so smart and so not at the same time.
asking someone's net worth, and you're looking for the sources, and say, that's what I heard. So we were talking about a young Mace Windu show.
Oh, that would be fire, honestly. Mace Windu's in my top 3 favorite characters.
Yeah.
As well, he should.
That's going to be an
Darth
OnlyFans charge,
Carey
sir.
has become a member of the Dyad Squadron.
Let's go, Kenny. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you. Let's go.
Who killed Kenny?
Somebody. What was the
You
chef's
bastards.
name? Was the chef's name?
Chef.
Chef.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's why
It's a chef.
So we were talking about, so the question on our minds is, who would play a young Mace Windu?
Oh,
And
That's a
we
good
landed on someone in their 20s because we want like a fresh Jedi Knight story.
I'm not the type that knows actors, to be honest with you.
I feel like I've only been watching shows with old people in it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is Morgan Freeman? Actually, you know who comes to mind? Look up Michael Rainey Jr. from Power. I think he's been in other things, but I've only known him from Power.
Oh yeah, I recognize that guy.
Okay. Yeah.
I could see it.
That's the only thing.
You know, although I will say, because some people really want Mace Windu to come back. I'm not really truly one of them, but if he did come back, I could potentially see a cool story of he survives, but he's maimed, right? For one, he's lost his hand. The other, he was thrown out a window. I mean, you could have it to where, you know, he has like one bionic leg or something like that from the fall. So if he is off somewhere trying to train like a new generation of Jedi, you know, the kids that escaped with Jar Jar Binks actor.
Are you trying to rationalize Mace Windu coming back but not being in the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I'm trying to rationalize a way to have Morgan Freeman.
Oh no.
No, but yeah, you could. I mean, obviously, you'd have Samuel Jackson just be old, looking like Mr. Glass, but being like, "All right, kids, that's what you do."
I'm latched onto Morgan Freeman now. The Force is
I just don't know where he would have been this whole time if they decided to bring him back.
That's my big issue.
I want
and also, I think it's a terrible misreading of his character because people are like, "Oh, he would come back to have a rematch with Boba Fett." And you're like, no, he doesn't care about neither Boba Fett or Mace Windu care about each other. You know what I mean? Like that's already done and resolved.
just get the kid from Stranger Things for young Mace. What's his name?
Oh, I know who that person's talking about. I forgot his name as well, though.
Yeah.
I could see that, too. I think they have similar head shape.
Maybe the path ends up on Tanalor or something. Could be why we haven't seen many Jedi, assuming they weren't all killed. Yeah, you know, he's chilling with Quinlan Voss.
I mean, just like we learned in Obi-Wan Kenobi, like they're both people that would not be standing around doing nothing.
Yeah.
So we learned that Quinlan has been helping the path. Then Mace's name would be on that wall too, right? He's dead.
He already has people thinking that he does graffiti already, so he chose not to do it. So he didn't.
I'm already attached to this I want Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins to be in a future timeline, and his name is Andy Dufresne. The Force is an energy field that surrounds us and penetrates us. My best friend, Andy Dufresne.
Also, Con, I was talking about one of your videos you did. I was meaning to do a stitch of it, but you know, you were talking about some of the backlash we were already seeing from Skeleton Crew, and it's interesting, you know, because the one character is gonna have, you know, two moms that are introduced in the third episode. Apparently, people are already mad about that. It hasn't
They have like
happened
no
yet.
screen time, by the way, either. Like no screen time.
So you're like, why you?
It's like the lesbian
and-
kiss in The Rise of Skywalker. It just happens, and like, oh, that takes me out of the story completely. Immersion broken. You know,
It's ridiculous.
and so that's why I say, when people say, I just want a good story. No, you don't. No, you don't. I don't care about, people's like if gender or anything. I just want a good. No, you care. Otherwise, you wouldn't be bringing it up.
otherwise
I don't
there wouldn't be
think about it.
there wouldn't be backlash to the casting of Snape.
Oh, I saw that. That's I don't think I'm gonna make a video on that one. But I definitely, the backlash is insane, especially since I don't think they even picked the actor yet. I think somebody just said they're eyeing an actor.
Yeah.
From what because I haven't looked into it super deep as well, but from what I understand, it's like this actor's in talks of joining the universe, and people are speculating who he's gonna play. But yeah, whatever it is, it's not set in stone. And you're like, he's a weird no-nose monster. I don't know.
Are you talking about Snape or Voldemort?
Oh, I'm thinking of Voldemort. My bad.
If anything, they're gonna need a shackle bolt. You think it's beyond them? You think it's you think they're above that in 2024?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
I think if
Yeah.
that happens, then they stop complaining about it, honestly.
All right. That's so let's play a quick game. Everyone in the chat, you can join in, but you can only make it apply to you and your own race. We'll do that. All right. So Pep, they're adding, for you, they're adding an Asian character. What's the Asian character's name?
We'll go with Devin Fortune Good. I could make it more racist, but every single Chinese restaurant around me is Good Fortune.
If they added another black character, he would be
Sorry, Jade Good Fortune.
perfect.
Jade, good fortune.
It would be Tyrese. Tyrese Blacksteel.
Oh man,
that's what they would name him.
James Kenobi said John Smith is fine.
John Smith.
God, man.
I mean, yeah. But okay, so
Obsidian
James
Black is
Kenobi.
a good one.
James Kenobi has to be in the vein of Harry Potter, though. Like I could say,
Con, do you
Jingli
have
or
in a-
Sakura, but that's not Harry Potter-esque.
do you have an offensive name that J.K. Rowling would give to a black character?
Oh man, it would probably. All I know is the first name would be Jerome. I can't think of a last name, but I know it would be Jerome something.
Just so I'm trying to think of like the syntax of a Harry
It would
Potter
be
name.
it would be Jerome Day, but Day is spelled D-E-I.
Oh, boy. They'd get a kick out of that one.
Think of a noun and an adjective that goes together. I think that's like the best thing. That's the best way I can describe a Harry Potter name, like nomenclature. So Jerome, noun, adjective. Just like Choco did the adjective noun Blacksteel, but what do you got?
what I was thinking before is not necessarily the noun adjective, but I kept coming back to like Nightwing because he's one of my favorite heroes. Like Jerome Nightwing would be hilarious.
I might do it actually.
He'd have to be a Quidditch player then.
100%.
That just reminds me of like when, what was it, like 2 years ago? There was like some racist person on Twitter that said something about the night skins, and everyone's like, "Night skins? That goes hard, man!" Like, kind of into that. Anyhow, I'm curious to hear about your experience, Con, because you got to go to see the first 3 episodes. You got to go to the premiere. For Skeleton Crew. What was that like? What was the experience? How did they let you know? How much free stuff you get?
It was amazing. I got a bunch of free stuff because at first they messaged me on TikTok just randomly, and they're like, are you free such and such? It was like 3 days beforehand. Luckily I had the day off, even though it wouldn't have mattered. I had to just called off. They're like, we want to invite you to such and such. They sent me a link. I filled out like my address and everything. It was probably so they could just figure out which Disney area I was closest to. Then they messaged me and they were like, we're going to email you all the details. They sent me everything. It was just for 1 ticket. And I was like, I messaged them back. I was like, is there any way I could buy 2 more for my wife and my kid? And they just sent me like 2 free more tickets, which came as a whole package thing. Cause like with each ticket you got to make a droid. I made the blue chopper.
Blue chopper.
So we ended up with 3 of those. They gave us each a Funko Pop character from the show. KB, my favorite.
KB's your favorite?
KB's my favorite only because I see myself in her. She's extra analytical. Right, and that's how I am most times. She's like the smart one. But also, I'm definitely a lot of whim too, because I'm pushing every button randomly. Because I'm in
KB.
Star Wars and I'm a kid. I'm pushing the button, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just off of the first 2 episodes of the trailer, I was kidding KB, but like Neil was doing a lot of work in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, Neil's a goofball. I love Neil.
No.
Dang, next time you need to say that you want to bring your cousin Nemo.
100%. I didn't even think they were going to give me more free tickets. I was ready to buy them, but yeah, that was insane.
I mean,
then
if
we
you
got
could
to
buy them, I would have bought them.
After. We got to just explore Disneyland after for free.
Oh, dang, we could have hung out.
It was great.
Where is it that you live? You live in LA, right?
No, the Palm Springs area.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not even.
The first time you were like, you want to do this like this Star Wars night thing? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, where is it at? Palm Springs. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it gets a bit pretentious up here sometimes, or down here, I guess. But we're still doing that Star Wars night thing. I think they picked January 18th. There's just a lot of details they're working out.
All right. Choco, you're in though, right?
Yeah, I mean, keep me up to date, as much as possible, because, I got my wife as well, who would want to plan for her. I'm currently unemployed, so that's all good.
I have my wife too,
but
she's my transportation.
The first one was so much fun, honestly. Twi'leks and Han Solo-esque scoundrels all over the place.
Tell us about it.
It was
like, how did it start?
I have a friend. Well, I promote at nightclubs sometimes and put on local rap shows and whatnot. And I have a friend who's a DJ, and he does house music and all types of stuff. And he saw my TikTok, because people in my personal life don't see my TikTok, honestly. He saw it and he's like, "Oh, that's crazy. We should do a Star Wars themed like night, rave, party, whatever." And I was like, "Let's try it out." And we did it, and it worked out better than we thought. The turnout was great. There was a lot of Star Wars fans around, because it was around the time of Comic-Con, the one in LA.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. There's way more cosplayers than I thought there would be. I did not think I would see Twi'leks, and my mind was kind of blown. I was like, this is fun.
What was the
That's cool.
what was the ratio of just like walk-ins versus people that were there specifically because of Star Wars?
I would say maybe, honestly, probably about 50-50, because the place gets walk-ins all the time anyway. They just walked in and they were like, what? This is insane.
Were they
I was
vibing
just
though
gonna say, it's
afterwards?
like,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
okay.
Because the venue that it's at is more of like a nerdy type venue. They have a big what is it? A big display case of action figures. They got a lot of Star Wars, a lot of Dragon Ball Z. They host game nights. So the people that go there on a regular are already probably part of some fandom or another.
Okay.
So what you're saying is we can do a real fans would know segment.
Definitely.
Yeah. The BG says, since when do Star Wars nerds get married? Listen,
It
if
happens.
you are a well-adjusted, a well-adjusted human, it's not too hard.
If you're a
it's,
well-adjusted human before you're a Star Wars nerd, the well-adjusted human gets married.
Yeah.
if you get
people are like, they love
irrationally
to marry Star
angry
Wars nerds.
when you see Rey Skywalker, you probably they probably aren't married. That's all
VGC
I'm
said
saying.
well-adjusted, so you lost me there. Well, okay.
Because I was
Somewhat
homeschooled.
adjusted. somewhat tuned to the real world. This is what I like to say now, especially in these times. We don't have to agree on politics, but we definitely have to agree on reality. And
human rights.
if your reality is not my reality, where it's like very, very misinformed, then we're not going to have a good time. We're not going to get along. But I have friends.
Yeah.
I have friends that disagree politically. It's fine. It's not. It depends on whether or not they are of the nugget nature.
That's going to be an
Cal 4
OnlyFans
has
charge,
become a
sir.
member of the Dyad Squadron.
Let's go, Cal
Hey,
4.
yo.
40 months. Let's go, Dyad crew. Much love, everybody.
How deep does the One Piece love go, Choco?
Where am I at right now? Law just put everyone's hearts back in their own bodies. We're out there. Sorry, are you caught up on One Piece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So where I'm at is the arc where they're on the island that's half snow and half lava.
Oh man, that arc's dope.
And yeah, it's and Law is really cool and just seemingly broken of a character. Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah,
got
what I
Law.
expected. When you asked him, "Are you caught up?" I expected him to be like,
I smell profit.
Oh,
Hereth super chatted 2 credits. Yeehaw.
I gotta fix that. It has to say the message. Anyways, Hereth, shout out to Hereth for super chatting $2. Skeleton Crew
and
Squad
shout out
turn up.
to Podwan's podcast as well. Definitely, check them out. Awesome peoples.
I was expecting when you said, "Are you all caught up?" Khan was like, "Man, I found the One Piece."
people aren't gonna like what the One Piece is. It's probably not gonna be like treasure. It's gonna be something corny.
But didn't was it Oda? Didn't he say?
It's the friends we made along the way, of course.
Yeah, something like that.
We know that's what every anime is. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah.
First you meet someone and then you fight them and then they're your friends now. That's just how anime works.
So, my One Piece is Fairy Tail. So anybody,
And that's how Fairy Tail works. Yeah. My hot take that I've already said to Pep is that I think Gajeel is a more interesting Vegeta. he's a more interesting mixture of Vegeta and Wolverine. And when I know it's edgelordy but when he goes Shadow Steel Dragon, I lost it.
I haven't watched Fairy Tail.
Okay.
I highly recommend it. Just because it's back
yeah.
now with a new one called 100 Year Quest, so.
Yeah, I mean it's basically, if, in my humble opinion, it's if Naruto and One Piece had a baby. It's Fairy Tail.
It's the one with Natsu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cal
I've seen
just
like
started-
edits of Natsu. It looks pretty cool, so I might check it out.
Yeah, Cal just started rewatching it. He's watched it like out of order, like up to like 60, 70 episodes, just because like it was all over the place. But
Fairy Tail is like one of those Cal coded shows. Like the things he
is.
didn't like about Bleach is what Fairy Tail excels at, and yeah. X-Core Gamer Skills, yes, there is new Fairy Tail. What other anime are you? Sorry, I didn't realize how into anime you were, or that you were into it. And we started this episode talking about how this upcoming year there's a whole bunch of bangers coming out. So we're super excited. Anything you're excited for, or any favorite animes you want to mention?
I need Demon Slayer ASAP. The way they ended it, they were all falling into the demon world. Nah, I need to see that ASAP. What kind of cliffhanger? I was so mad. I was like, oh, let me make some food for this next episode.
Yeah.
And I sit down and hit play, and it's over, and then that was it.
Nope.
I was like,
well, not even that. Like you sit down for that last episode, and when they're falling into Kibutsuji's realm, and you like happen to hover over the video, or like press the remote.
Oh,
and
you're
you
like,
show
there's
that the
not enough time left.
There's a minute and 30 left. They're gonna end it here.
Yeah.
God dang it. Yeah. But spoiler alert, also.
yeah, that's definitely my number one anticipated right now.
Interesting. Have you seen Solo Leveling?
Yes, that's up there too, but Demon Slayer takes the cake. Solo Leveling was amazing though. I liked it. The
Solo
whole gaming
Leveling?
interface thing.
Yeah.
It was fresh.
Solo Leveling is the only anime that I will watch in dub.
Oh, I watch them both. I don't really care.
Because in the Japanese version, I think he goes like Mizame or something like that. But then like the voice actor in the dub goes like, what does he say? He says awaken or
Arise.
Arise. Yeah. Like he understood the assignment on that one.
The English voice actor was legitimately like spitting up blood. He went so hard in it.
VGC asks, oh yeah, wakey. Like he did actually do one of those. Have you watched ReZero? I watched ReZero like 15 years ago, whenever it was.
Oh.
But I haven't seen the remaster. What are we calling it?
Erect. Oh no. Yeah. So I watched the first season. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And I ended up I watched I think the next 2 seasons and just kind of fell off. But it's no, it's a good show. It is a good show. One thing that's pissing me off is I keep getting ads on TikTok for a video game of So I'm a Spider, and no season 2 of that show. What the hell?
You're in my Zega Pain era of seeing all the Xbox games, but I'm like, where's this next season?
What is So I'm a Spider?
Yeah, oh, so it's what is it? I'm a spider, so what, or so I'm a spider. But basically, it's an isekai. The main character is a girl, so there was kind of her entire class
Wait,
got
is that woke already?
into a fantasy world. But her specifically, she came back as a spider in a dungeon. the rest of them were like mostly elves, and some of them were like heroes, and they're all humans. They're all living their life and like doing stuff. But she's a spider in a dungeon, and she's just trying to like not die, and so she keeps like having to like fight things and like figure out what power ups and stuff, and then becomes like this Omega level spider monster. And it's funny because, well, for one, it's an isekai, but if you're an isekai with a female protagonist, it's not all fan servicey, so I do like that. But also, you get to see sometimes it's the same story from two different perspectives. So whenever it's her, the spider's like super cute and happy, and it like all the anime tropes and stuff like that. But then on the other side, it's like this monster demon spider that like everyone's terrified of. It's funny. But they ended the season in a really interesting place where they turned the genre on its head in a cool way. And then just nothing. And then they're like, "Well, we have a new video game though," and you're like, "Give me."
Is it kind of like when it's her, it's happy, but from a different perspective, it's Panther Lily?
Basically, it's like that. Although her life is not happy, her life is kill or be killed. She's a spider in a high-level dungeon, just trying to not die every day.
I think that's Happy's life too.
That's true.
Just remember in the first episode where he's like, "Lucy, yeah, my transformation ran out." Start falling. My first anime that my oldest friend got me to watch was Evangelion. That's a good one.
That's a good one to do.
To start off with. Let's move on to Skeleton Crew.
Mm-hmm.
So we've only seen 2 episodes because we're peasants. So you only get to talk about 2 episodes.
Which is really hard, by the way.
That means the 3rd episode goes off.
It's like, I gotta wait a whole nother week.
Yeah. So what did you think? So let me try to reframe this because. Okay, so you saw all 3 at the same time. What was your thoughts after 2 episodes? Right before you saw episode 3.
I wanted to know who the dude who used the force on the keys were. His story is intriguing, by the way. I can't wait for you guys to see episode 3, to be honest. So then we can all
so it's
talk
revealed
about
in episode 3?
A little bit, not much, because there's more episodes, but they get into it a little more.
I think he is what our thumbnail says. He's Long Jod Silvo.
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically Treasure Island.
Okay.
It's got that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, but you mean Long Jod Silver?
I said Long Jod Silvo.
Oh, I didn't hear Jod. I heard John. So my bad.
I have questions that I feel like you're gonna have an answer to.
By the way, I feel like they're like, we got this character, and we need to figure out a name. He's gonna be played by Jude Law, and they're like, Jod.
Yeah, I don't think they thought too hard on that one.
Yeah, it is pretty standard or basic. I'm wondering if he's the captain from episode 1. I don't think he is.
After seeing the 3rd episode, I'm still wondering that too, so don't worry.
Yeah, simply because from what we've seen, Jod had the cold open with the pirates kind of raiding that empty vault vessel, and there was a mutiny, whereas the ship that they find seems to be very ancient, and and Smee was literally serving a crew that was all skeletons. So,
Yeah, but I think that's what they meant, is the captain from episode 1, meaning from the cold open.
oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that was
Drew.
I just recognized the voice because I fairly recently watched Captain Marvel, and even with the mask on, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's him.
But what were
That
your
sounds like Jan Rog.
what were your thoughts of it? Like, give me the skinny on like whether you enjoyed it. Like, what are the things that you took away from what you've seen so far?
I definitely enjoyed it. I think in my opinion it's better than the Acolyte, only because it engaged like the reasons I like Star Wars and have liked it since I was like 13 in the first place. It was more like adventurous in a sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is this what Star Wars needs right now?
I don't necessarily think Star Wars needs anything, in my opinion. I feel like they could have did this, or they could have went in like a more violent lightsaber-y direction, or they could have went back to space dogfights type. I think Star Wars can do a lot of good things. I think the issue is with people complaining about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think it needs much, really.
I agree. I don't think Star Wars needs anything. The
But
fans.
Star Wars hasn't touched this vibe in a minute, so it's great.
Yes. I think Star Wars needs sections. It needs vibes, and it needs to hit all of the vibes every, I don't know, 5, 10, or 8 years, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give me mystery. Give me adventure. Give me, you know, rebel political stuff, and then give me Force lore stuff. Just bounce around, hitting those three.
But I feel like if we go back a couple of years to the Investors Day, I feel like this has always been the direction.
Yeah.
We got Skeleton Crew back then. We got Acolyte. We got Ahsoka announced. Lando is still. I don't know what Donald Glover is doing with that, but
Well, here's one thing I do want to say about kind of that whole thing is, in the interviews, we find out that they approached Lucasfilm about this project when he did the first Spider-Man movie. That's when this whole thing started. What year was Homecoming?
2017?
I'm
Homecoming
not
was
sure.
after Civil War, right? So that would have been 2018.
Still, Civil War introduced Peter. Yeah, so it came after that.
2017.
2017.
Yeah, so basically, they had to do 2 more movies before they could start working on this in earnest, and all of the other projects that are in the same exact spot of like with creators who are like, we are actively working on other projects, but we're gonna do this afterwards. So Skeleton Crew finding that out actually makes me hopeful for some of these other projects that have seemed to be backburnered a little bit.
Yeah, even with the Rian Johnson trilogy that keeps on, like, there's still no official word on it. No official
I
cancellation.
think they should stop leaking things like that.
I don't think anyone's leaking things. I think it's just the nature of what we call journalism today is doing sources tell us, you know?
Yeah.
True.
And it's some like low level kind of like mail clerk who just like hears 2 people having a conversation. It's like, yeah, this could be a thing. And then they're like, oh, so it is a thing. They just...
Yeah, so we
Quite
publicized
annoying.
a thing that was never actually announced, and then people get mad when the thing that was never announced seemingly falls through, and you're like, who are you mad at, and why?
Yeah. James Kenobi says, golden age of Star Wars with so many different kinds of projects. There's something for everyone, which is great. Like, Star Wars, I keep on saying Star Wars is alive and well. And the only people that are saying that Star Wars is dead are the people that are not interested in their own lives.
Let's see. Scooper culture was long before Reddit. I honestly don't know that it was. I mean, in the old days, they literally had a live feed of the set for the prequels where you could look at it and you could see actors and crew working on stuff. Like no one cared about spoilers and stuff. It feels like until the MCU got going.
I feel like X-Men
I feel like there's
started it.
Maybe the reboots of X-Men, but I specifically remember watching like Fox specials on the making of the third X-Men movie, and it pissed me off because they were like, yeah, we have these two stacks, these are what characters look like, and these are power sets, and then we're just like, what looks cool and what works, and that really made me mad. But they released all this stuff well before the show, well before it ever came out. Back in the day, novelizations for films were released the same day, if not before, the movies.
I was speaking specifically about how X-Men created the sizzle scene at the end.
Oh, okay.
And and then there was the one with, I think it was The Last Stand, and
it was Magneto getting his power back.
Yeah, and then there was Xavier with Moira, who was like, "Hello, Moira," and she was like, "What?" Or in Star Wars' case, what? X2.
Magneto's one of my favorites.
Is he now? Are you playing Marvel Rivals?
I am playing Marvel Rivals. I main Mantis.
Add
Ooh,
us.
Mantis is good.
Mm-hmm.
In game, IGN is Dyad in the Force, and Darth Choco is Pinto Bean Express. No, I'm just kidding. He's Darth Choco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody
we will
in the
be
chat?
Playing immediately after this ends, or at least I will.
No, we
I was also playing immediately before this began.
Anybody else in the chat, if you guys want to add us on Marvel Rivals, in-game name is Dyad in the Force and Darth Choco, no spaces. Khan, what's your... Oh, I don't really want to reveal that for you.
Your in-game name as in not your PSN name?
Yeah, the one that you entered in Rivals.
Okay, yeah. Mine's just Khan Skywalker.
There you go. You can stalk him now.
I don't mind.
Squad up during. Ah, man, we gotta talk about Skeleton Crew.
I might be a Magic main, but I'm also been playing a lot of Spider-Man. He's so much fun. He's difficult.
Swinging back and forth.
Oh man, I've been doing some dirty stuff of just he's super fragile, but you can't ever kill him because I'll swing in, web combo, and then I'm out and see ya.
Yeah. Eric, it's not a mobile game. It's a free game, but it's console PC oriented, and just picture
and it's
your battle
cross-platform,
arena.
so we all play together.
Yeah, it's a battle arena type of game.
It's Marvel's Overwatch.
So, back to Skeleton Crew.
Sorry, I get excited.
What are we thinking about, specifically, Khan? What are we thinking about the disconnect between Ad-Adden for the kids and Ad-Adden as it pertains to how the pirates view it?
That is elaborated on in the third episode, so it's a horrible question to ask me right now.
That makes me very happy, though, because that is my biggest mystery. Right?
Only a little bit, also.
So it's not completely answered?
No, it's All we know is that it was hidden on purpose
Yeah.
amongst several other planets that were hidden on purpose. We
Yeah,
don't
I
know
got-
why. We don't know by who. We don't know any of that stuff.
I got that much from the first episode with the whole barrier thing. They were talking about like
They're out beyond the barrier now, and the kids are like, "What are those?" And you're like, "Those are stars." And you're like,
Yeah, that moment was giving off cult vibes. Like the whole planet
Oh,
might as well
yeah.
be a cult.
"Oh,
the droid.
well, you can contribute to the great work. Wouldn't you
Yeah,
like to?"
and I was like, "What, dude? I don't know about that."
The droid in the beginning, he was talking about like the methods of how they chart the galaxy, and how it's the same for planets outside the barrier. And I'm like, Jesus, this sounds like the wall that's overgrown with vines and.
Yeah,
Honestly, it made me think of of Land Before Time, and they had to head out to the great beyond.
Oh yeah.
Littlefoot.
Yeah.
Littlefoot. I think that was the dinosaur's name from those movies.
Oh yeah. Littlefoot and Sarah and
This is my
stupid
first-
Petrie. I hate Petrie.
This is my first silver alert.
Neil equals Littlefoot. I can see that.
What was the little pterodactyl?
Petrie?
Petrie?
Yeah.
That was my dude. All right.
But yeah, when that moment when they were like, it immediately made me think of the show Darker Than Black. I don't know if you guys have watched that anime. But in that anime, their sky is fake, and so like at the end, they do get to see the actual stars, and it's like a special moment.
So what I'm getting is by the third episode, Jod has already commissioned the kids in the starship to leave the port. Don't answer that.
Oh, I wasn't going to.
Okay, Lore Masters, who was that ferryman creature? Was that a new thing? I mean,
We don't know who it was, but it was definitely the same species as Treek from the Ewok Battle for Endor movies. Is that the answer you're looking for?
no, he's looking for the species name. Probably. Who is?
Well, he says who was that, so I assume they were thinking of Treek. Oh, close enough. I'm sorry. Caravan of Courage. Idiot. My bad.
What did you say, Willow?
And I said Battle for Endor.
Oh. Doubt they got Amber Alerts on Atten. I mean,
one of the things I do think is interesting though is we had some people like kind of confused at seeing like a Star Wars suburb like that, and like it was so orderly with the buses, with the trams and the tracks and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's just a byproduct of the cult. It's a cult that's run by droids. Everyone higher up they're all droids. What's going on?
Yeah, so
Khan's
far
like,
still.
Khan's like, I can't say
So far,
nothing.
still, no, it's still mostly droids.
yeah,
Someone's up
even the
there though.
police.
Somebody's doing something, profiting off of this or something. There has to be.
But it's also not without like kind of precedent, right? Whenever they're like, I've seen shows like futuristic shows that paint much like Orville with their kind of idyllic society, their meritocracy, like painting this kind of almost utopian like vision of the world of I suppose society where things are kind of run on rails all the time to just so everything operates within scope and on time. It's not necessarily a cult thing.
I mean, I'm operating under the thought that there was like that these are droids at the very top running off of their last command, and then whoever ordered them died, and they've just been like perpetuating this society. But everything's kind of on rails because it's going to exemplify that the curiosity that Whim displays, while it's seen as like a negative thing, an impetuous thing at the beginning, it's actually what breaks everyone free from their programming, so to speak.
I could definitely see that. Another thing that was kind of throwing me off about people complaining about the suburbs aspect is like we have this large galaxy where we run into like Tuskens and huts, and then we have like Coruscant, but shit in the middle makes you mad. I don't understand.
It does.
We got the city, we got the underworld and the slums.
Like what?
Like we literally have a space Vegas. You know, like, you know. There's no space Henderson. The hell.
There's gotta be. I mean, like, even if you played like SOTOR, there were suburbs there too.
Yeah.
Though very like tall suburbs. I'm thinking primarily of Alderaan. It looked very suburban, just like some of the buildings were tall.
Mm-hmm. Favorite references, or I mean, can't really say cameos, but any references that really jumped out for you guys at this first episode?
Only the circus. The little mini circus.
Oh yeah. The story behind that is kind of crazy though. Like, because that's literally the the holiday special, but there is no digital copies of that like that exists. So they went to the archives and they found the footage and they recreated the scene from the holiday special just so that they could put it in the show. That's crazy.
I didn't get to go back and rewatch for all of the Easter eggs. What were some of the ones that you caught?
I mean, the first one was when we watched it together, was the droid's name is Smee.
Oh yeah.
Which just made me happy. But it's funny because everyone thought of animated Peter Pan. I only thought of Hook.
Yeah. Smee.
But the one that made me the happiest is the little creature with the butterfly wings, which is straight from Captain EO. Because I loved Captain EO. I'm partially hoping that this is just a Captain EO origin story, and that Whim ends up growing up into Black Michael Jackson.
Maybe. Oh, but isn't when they first land on Borgo and KB turns around and says, "Look, guys, aliens." The first alien we've seen before, and I can't put my finger on it. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Not offhand, no. But I did think that was a weird line because you're like,
of course.
Yeah, Neil's right there. But I mean, for them, there's all sorts of creatures. Neil's crush.
Wow, that was funny. His crush. I forgot her name.
Runa?
I was like, I like
Runa.
her.
Yeah.
Who do you have a crush on? Runa.
And Runa was played by I guess I can't say friend of the channel, but she was cool to hang out with in real life. But now I can't think of her. Man, she makes a lot of TikToks doing voices. She was also like Leia's voice in the Lego stuff. Dang, I can't remember. Never mind. I'll figure it out later.
Do we know her or do you know her?
I don't know if you met her. Yeah, Shelby Young. There was Shelby Young.
Gotcha.
Yeah, hung out with her a bunch at D23. It was super cool.
This D23?
Mm-hmm. But I mostly hung out with her in the Creators Lounge at the arena thing.
Oh,
but she
got
was
it,
at the
got
other
it.
events that we were at.
Yeah, I was in the pleb spaces. And it seems like other than human, they only have Neil's species, Ithorian and Runa's species. I mean, the classroom seemed very diverse in terms of aliens. The only thing that was out of place was the all the droids that were the police.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of made me chuckle though is we had the one lady that ran up and she was like, "Are you guys kids?" And it made me kind of chuckle because like with so many aliens of different sizes and stuff that you can't actually assume someone's a kid because they look like a kid.
There are some humans that are as short as
true.
them.
You would think the Jawas were kids.
Right?
True.
I don't think it was actually a reference, but the Mission Impossible reference when Smee goes to fight and he loads up his fist like Henry Cavill does in Mission Impossible. That made me laugh. VGC says, "I just want to go to that Space Hooters."
Yeah.
You and me both.
Oh yeah. I remember. I remember the exact scene.
When we were reacting to it, I think one of them said not for us.
Yeah.
And I said
I was just thinking
it's for us.
I was just thinking ludicrous. We in the red light district.
Lord.
A little bit more outward of a, I guess, Easter egg or cameo was Vane getting himself messed up again.
It was good to see Vane.
He has no future.
Speaking of cameos, I want
Hondo?
why did I forget his name? Hondo. I want Hondo so bad.
Do you
Hopefully he can.
is Hondo known for hanging around other pirates?
He kind of got booted. But like if there's someone who would understand Jod's situation, it'd be Hondo.
Yeah. Hondo unironically deals with children for some reason a lot. And Jedis and whatnot.
He did in Clone Wars. No, that's what I'm talking about. That was his crew on Florum.
Yeah, so he had pirate friends in Clone Wars. He did not have a lot of friends in Rebels, but like, that don't mean he can't make friends. Who wouldn't want to be his friend?
I forgot which movie this takes place in between.
This is after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Okay, so I feel like if he is going to be called Long Jod Silvo, then it would be Hondo. He just comes into Borgo's like, "Where are all the prophets? I don't see any prophets anywhere. We are all suffering. Long Jod Silvo, where have you been?" That hurts my throat. If I do that for longer. And now I think I might have lost my voice.
Yeah, Time Trap says, some people saying that same species as Teak was the little guy greeting the kids on the pirate station. Yeah, that was the same species. That was their ferrymen, their little space dinghies. I was best friends with the Jedi, Jod. That's why he would be the only person who would be like chill with like a force sensitive pirate. He'd be like, I thought force sensitives are supposed to be rare. Everywhere I look, I keep running into them.
Now, do you guys think Jod is a Jedi? Or was a Jedi? Or do you think he's just a random force sensitive?
I think he's a random force sensitive.
I'm calling son of a Jedi. Son of a Jedi or grandson of a Jedi. Order 66 happens. Jedi's go on to run. Stop doing Jedi stuff. Gets married, has a kid. And that kid becomes a pirate. And is also shares the Force sensitivity. That's where I'm leaning at. But it's hard to say, especially with how good actors look, and you're like, how old are you actually? How old is the character you're supposed to be? You never know.
Are you asking that out of curiosity as well, or are you asking that because you find out in episode 3?
No, I don't. No, we don't know yet exactly. He's real good at not giving details about anything, which in and of itself might be a detail, but who knows?
The reason that I don't want him to be affiliated with any Jedi is because I want a story like it. I want a story from an individual that has the Force, that has never had aspirations, nor has he been recruited. It's just something that he's had to live with, whether it be for exploitation or for, general kind of struggle bus narratives. Mm-hmm. It would be cool because then, like, I'm also searching for a narrative reason that he endears himself with the kids, right? He's called upon the kids now because they have a starship and a way off of Borgo. And Whim is, like, super obsessed with the Jedi, calls him a Jedi, and I feel like in some point in the series, Jod is like, will internally be fighting against this kind of notion, and he's like, I'm not a Jedi. I'm not as good as you think I am. I'm a bad person, blah blah. And then he like endears himself to the kids, and by the end he starts to become, or not become,
his
but
heart
adopt
grows
heroic
2 sizes too
traits.
large.
Classic character development.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Whim's stories might be High Republic stories, but happy to be wrong.
I'm wondering what Whim's stories are too, because they're isolated on this planet, and he's talking about the Jedi.
Well,
everywhere else, I'm pretty sure the Jedi have just been being hunted and whatnot. So, like,
Well, this is after Return of the Jedi, and the Empire has seemingly been, not eradicated, but deposed. They talk about the great works of the Republic, the New Republic, and then there's Republic logos all over Atatin Middle School, which is what it says in Orobesh in the beginning. So they're like 6, 7. I don't know what middle school is on Atatin, but they're like 6th to 7th, 6th, to 8th grade. So for sure, the barrier makes me think that this is a Republic project. That's why that there's information about the Jedi now like uncovered, and maybe they're just not even like information about the Jedi. Maybe it's just regular random old like holo novels that planets had, or that planet had, and was kind of suppressed when the Empire was occupying it and stuff.
Yeah. It kind of makes me, reminds me of, in the expanded universe, there were a number of special projects. Now, these were Imperial special projects, but they had hidden resource stations just around the galaxy, right? And I want to say, what was it? It was the book Darksaber. Darksaber was one of them. The other one was the one with the Sun Crusher. Such a weird story. Anyways, there was these people, and they were isolated because they were just working on like weapons of mass destruction, and they never learned that the war ended. They never knew that the Empire was no more. They were just like, yeah, we haven't spoken to him in 15 years, but this is the project we're supposed to be working on, so we're just like, keep doing it. And I'm wondering if this could be something similar to this. And it was like like near the maw, and that's why they were hidden for so long. Is no one, it's just not a place where people travel because of how dangerous it is.
You know, I just had an epiphany, and it relates to either yours or.
Mm.
You good, Con?
Lagging in and out here.
What was the last thing you heard?
It was before you started talking, that's for sure.
Okay.
Choco was talking still.
So I had an epiphany.
Wasn't saying anything interesting.
See. I think
Choco?
oh nope, I'm lying. I'm not good. Okay, no, I think I'm good actually. I just hit the mute button.
Oh. Yeah, you're good.
User error.
So, Choco, were you the one that posited or postulated that it could be one of those things that is like the start of the First Order?
Yeah.
So I just had an epiphany that based on what we've seen in The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, this is part of the Imperial Reformation Project. You know how like Pershing was given a number and put into some kind of housing. They probably had that later on, except on planets. But because there's a barrier around, there's a certain group of higher ups that is using this opportunity to be shielded from the outside world. They're like, oh, the great works of the Republic, and this is another project. This is the Imperial Reformation Project. But it ends up, because that they're using the barrier, that it is like a staging ground for, like, it works with your theory in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what they're doing with old Imperial sympathizers and employees, so to speak.
Yeah, they could be taking old, engineers and stuff like that from Imperial projects, and have them working on projects where this is like where it's almost like a prison, but they're allowed to just live their lives, under the supervision of these droids that keep order. Who knows? And now it's been several generations, and whoever organized it forgot about it. I don't know. I'm just anxious to see what's going on, because that is a fascinating mystery in and of itself.
If that were the case, do you think it would be something Thrawn would know about?
No.
Not necessarily, but how cool would it be if what they're working on is like the stealth technology that Thrawn steals, or this is the birthplace of like the Katana fleet, or something, from that book series.
From what we know from the books and Ahsoka, Thrawn is very much on his own kind of trajectory. Like, he has his own plans now.
What if this is also? What if it's inspired? So
if
there's
it's Talon
another
Card?
Timothy Zahn.
I said it before James Kenobi.
There's another Timothy Zahn book called Outbound Flight. And essentially the Republic put together this project where they were going to have like a few Jedi and people from the Republic go out and like do their own, like, explore this like faraway territory and like figure stuff out and have their own stations and just be separate. And bad stuff happens to Outbound Flight, but this actually, it does have some outbound, like, if Outbound Flight was successful, what it would end up being is this. Master James Kenobi is reading that book right now, if I am not mistaken. What do you think?
Do you think this is something that Pelion would be overseeing?
So we've already seen Pelion as part of the Shadow Council. Now that does not mean it's not him. he wouldn't be involved, but it would just be very interesting, especially considering the First Order came from the centrists from the Republic.
Satil Shan, we even? Nope, I already said Satil Shan earlier. So I'm 2 up on you. It's interesting to think about it. If this is kind of like the crux of the show. But it can't be, because it's Skeleton Crew. It's about the kids and like their search for the One Piece. Or at least not their search for it, but Jod's.
It could just
search.
be about the kids liberating them from all of this somehow, some way.
Right?
Bringing a bunch of outsiders in, maybe.
The end is the Pirates of Borgo, led by Jod Silvo. And
So-
he's running a clinic on Nassau, which is at Atten.
Well, so we already know that what's happening on Atten is evil. It is bad. I shouldn't say evil, but it is bad.
Bad for sure.
And the reason we know that is because how old are those kids? They're taking an assessment that's going to tell them what to do for the rest of their lives.
Another clue that gave
It's
it
like
away
you're like
was
10.
Well, they're in
Whim.
middle school, yeah.
Wim said he wanted to help people, and the droid was like, "We got droids for that." I was like,
Yeah.
Droids malfunction and
They're
do
like,
weird
"That's
things."
not a-
so,
That's not a job. And you're like,
yeah, what?
the hell is not a job? Yeah, but I mean, there's no ain't no children figuring out what they're gonna do for the rest of their life.
Yeah, there is.
It's like I'm not even sold. What to do?
They're called Jedi Younglings.
I mean, that's different if you have a calling, you know. But the Jedi Younglings can leave and go do whatever they want.
That's true. That's true. Are we assuming that what they did with the starship? Are we assuming that the existence of a barrier means that no one is allowed to leave?
I mean, they stated that in the first episode.
Yeah,
No
you
ships
can't
are
leave.
allowed in or out.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they said that, and then a droid labeled the children as criminals. That might have been in the 3rd episode. Oops.
Jesus. He says that all in the same breath too.
I just want one of those hover
I can't
bikes,
remember.
man. That looks so freaking cool.
Doesn't the New Republic do the assessment thing also? Kind of assume that based on the Imperial Rehab thing from Mando? Well, they didn't have the Imperial Rehab thing had the Mind Scrambler, right? Reconditioner
Mind
Scrambler.
It's going to bug me.
The
Mind
Mind
Flayer.
Blaster.
No.
Yeah, it's not trustworthy. No. I mean, it has. This show has all of the makings of the anti-heroes being the heroes.
Yeah,
That's why I
like that
see,
joke though.
That's why I see like the Pirates of Borgo like initially being painted as like this ragtag, almost kind of filthy scum of the galaxy in the first 2 episodes, and then like later on they're seemingly the only ones that can help the kids kind of usurp what's happening on that Atten. Because that's got to be alarming to them too, right? Nobody knows what Atten is other than this lost planet of eternal treasure. And then you think about the captain that Smee served and how and why they were marooned. Right, because you said no one is allowed in or out. So what? Did they get shot down?
True. Yeah. How did they end up on that planet? Then they woke him up, and he's like, "I don't recall no Ad Adden."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, when did this Great Barrier go up? You know,
You
maybe
got
the
me
ship was already there.
thinking about the Great Barrier Reef. Unless
I was like thinking of the great work and the barrier. Yeah, there's a lot of they've set this up. I think they've done a great job setting this up. There's a lot of places it can go. It's super fun, whole family. My wife is absolutely in love with it and jumped. We're also convinced that if we had a kid, it would look exactly like Wim. If you see how big and curly my wife's hair is, and my wife is also Mexican.
the ship was upside down. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Phineas says, unless they're going to start soon, anything they do with these characters down the line will have to be a decent time jump. The kids are already 3 years older than they were. You know what? That freaked me out as well, because I was watching some like new TikToks that they did with our friend Michaela, and I was like, what the hell? What happened to Wim? Like, they're in the middle of peak like growth spurt years, and so it's like when I saw Wim, Fern and KB, I don't know their actors' names, but like they were like, holy crap, they look nothing like what they did in the trailer.
That's a whole
Definitely
team.
didn't surprise me because again, at Star Wars Celebration, they were like, hey, we just finished shooting Skeleton Crew, and there had been no announcement of Skeleton Crew at all. And so the very first thing I ever heard about it was on stage at Celebration saying, we finished shooting this thing. And we're like, what the hell is that?
That's true. Yeah,
Which is probably why it looks so good. They've had these past 3 years, a few years to.
They actually
polish it
didn't announce Skeleton Crew at the investors meeting, did
No.
they? No.
It wasn't announced. It was just.
By the way, this is in the works. Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's the same problem that Stranger Things has. You know.
I gotta say it, and it's really, I guess it's dumb to say. It just has me feeling old. I feel weird when I see Millie Bobby Brown and stuff because she's a whole ass adult, but like to me, I still feel like I just saw season 1. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Even with the later seasons, it's still kind of she's still kind of young in them, and then like you see them in like interviews today, it's like a whole different person. The biggest I think for me was Finn Wolfhard. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Like he straight up looks like Timothy Chalamet now. Like he can play like
puberty
someone
gets
in
harder
their 20s.
when you're watching it from the outside. You're watching TV shows, and you're like you try to match it up to present day time.
Yeah, well, because I've only ever seen the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things, and I watched season 1 when season 2 came out, and that's it. So like my memory is like, no, these are babies.
Oh, like season 3 is literally watching whole ass adults act like they're 13.
So it's like watching everything in the 90s.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow children.
How old was Heath Ledger when he was in what is that thing? What was that movie called?
Spooky Kitty. Don't say that. It doesn't work with my brain.
You guys remember the show Hannah Montana?
Yes.
Yep.
The brother was like 30 at the time of filming that.
Jeez. I mean, he is a pretty small dude. he can pass. 10 Things I Hate About You. How old was Heath Ledger in there? Because he was playing a high school kid. 1999.
I was saying about Paul Rudd and Clueless, and you're like, he's the same.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's weird. What's wrong with you?
Oh, he was 20 there. Okay. It's still 20 in the high school, but whatever. Season 4 is like
Yeah.
watching seniors in college pretending to be high schoolers. Yeah, and the thing is,
Pretty
it's
much.
like It's like part of Eleven's character as well is kind of being all flirtatious with Finn's character, right? And like you're watching what appears to be someone in their 20s like argue with David Harbour about keeping the door open. I'm like, Jesus Christ. This is kind of yeah. It'll have the same problem as Stranger Things, you know, if there is. And I do hope so. I do hope there is. Because one of the things that really irks me about getting excited and invested in these shows, particularly Acolyte, and this includes Skeleton Crew now, is the unknown of whether they're going to narratively close the book. And if they don't, and not give us a season 2, what's the point? You know what I mean?
I mean, as for me, I see the issue. I take it the exact opposite way though, where I want this to be a one and done. I want this.
It's not about my
season.
wants. It's about how they execute it.
Yeah, so I want them to do one season intentionally, so they close it off, and we have a solid and satisfying conclusion to this story. Now, do we see any of these kids later pop up in any other project? Could, you know, but Skeleton Crew, I would like to have a good solid bookend.
Yeah, I would like for them to close it off too. The issue that I'm picturing or portraying is that their execution of that bookend, does it do a Yoda sizzle? Does it do a Plagueis sizzle? And then they cancel it because it was always meant to be one season, you know, or not renew it. Like if it's meant to be one season, then the final episode should be a solid conclusion.
The Acolyte cliffhangers were atrocious.
Yeah, so the Acolyte only got one season greenlit ever, but it was originally pitched as a multi-season show. So she was like, I will have an ending to the main story, but there will be things that can lead us into more seasons, which is why we got what we got.
The problem is the problem with that is how it turned out. And this isn't a problem with the show. The problem with it is that we got a solid conclusion to Soul and Osha's, you know, incident, right? But their cliffhangers were so made me want so much more.
but that's what I want to avoid. As I want this to be one show. I want people to come in with specific vision, and I want them to be greenlit to create their entire vision, no more, no less.
Yeah.
And if it succeeds, awesome. Let's give them another story, you know. But I also, you know, I don't want a DCEU thing where everything is created with an eye towards infinite creation. You know what I mean? Everything that is created is actually a commercial for something else to be created, and that's what I don't want.
I will say, there's a small part of me that wants more seasons with these characters. Because I feel like it is a cauldron that is brewed perfectly for these kids to have multiple adventures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I want this to end with them liberating their planet and breaking down this barrier, and we'll see what it is. What that turns into after that, I mean, we don't know.
I feel like they will one and done it just because it's such a disconnected story. Where it's like the Acolyte funneled directly into the Sith. Oh no. In what way? Like 1,000 episodes?
But not as egregiously, but I'm thinking maybe like the journey getting back to Aten is riddled with journeys to several planets, several arcs, several adventures. You know, it's kind of like this tree of narratives.
It would be awesome if we did end up with a story that had a crew adventuring and touching all these different corners and cultures and places inside of the Star Wars universe. That would be really cool. I almost feel like that's better done in book format first, though.
I mean, it's better done until it's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like my desire of or the thought of like the High Republic shines the most in the books until we see a show where it shines, where I'm like, give us more. You know what I mean? I want the Dawn of the Jedi to spawn more Old Republic shows.
I feel like live action High Republic would like traumatize all the kids. Nameless coming out and like with a bunch of weird tentacles coming out of its face and grabbing you and turning you into dust.
Well, speaking
I mean,
of
it'd be sick.
Khan, have you gotten into the High Republic?
Not really, no, honestly. I haven't picked up Star Wars books in so long, probably since like the novelization of The Revenge of the Sith. It's like fucking school.
Amazing
So, but I have a question for you guys, honestly. What is your response to people who consistently scream about Disney not adapting Legends? Do you think Disney needs to adapt any Legends?
No, there's no requirement to do so. All of that stuff was never seen as canon as George, and what we know of the contract between George and Disney during the acquisition is that they would take under advisement George's existing canon, and they would work off of that. And so what's the property that they bought and the property that they were going forward with was always going to be what George sold them in terms of what he envisioned to be his canon, and all of the published works were fun ideas. You know, will I enjoy it if they bring more Legends into canon or adapt a Legend story into a canon version? That remains to be seen. Like all of these people that like to spit out superlatives and kind of proclamations, I don't know if anything's going to be good until I see it, or bad. Like, yeah, we talk about it all the time. Like, what do you want to see, Choco? And we talk about like, oh, this show would be awesome, but like, do we really know? Like, none of these ideas that we pitch and talk about are casted. We don't have a director. It's like, these are just cool ideas, and it's the same thing with Legends. It's all cool ideas until, you know, it falls into the lap of a showrunner that either wants to completely give up creative license and just copy and paste the story, or, you know, make it their own.
We already have those stories. Yeah. I think it's so weird. I don't know. I feel like those people and the loudest complaints in the community are people who are against art. They are anti-art. They don't want to see anything new because they can't imagine it, and they just want to see the same thing that they've seen before. One of the things that kind of drives me crazy, and it might be interesting to see, or it might be a fun exercise to do, is someone was like remaking Revenge of the Sith and Clone Wars animation. You're like, that's a cool project for like someone who's learning animation. Mm-hmm. That'd be so weird to do because I've seen the movie. I know what happened. You know, I don't need, like, those books exist and I can read them and I still enjoy them. We don't need to get them again. You know, Disney right now is creating a bunch of live action versions of already modern movies. You know what I mean? Like, we just got Moana 2. We don't need a live action Moana. You know, I mean, I would still go ham on like a live action, you know, Treasure Planet. that would be sick. But I don't like. I feel very firmly that if we already have the story, we don't need to get it again, and we should take that money and put it into something new and something interesting. I think the people who make those complaints would never be happy with anyone's version of that, because what I imagine in my head when I'm reading that book and what you imagine in your head is probably gonna be different, right? It probably won't look the same, and these people will not be okay with that. There's also a lot of things that in the expanded universe that suck. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a lot of things that are not good. Even in the good stories, there are certain things that don't work cinematically. You know, the Thrawn trilogy is probably the most famous example. If we try to adapt that, first of all, it would take you 3 movies to do the first book. You know what I mean? Like, we would need. There's a lot of content that gets covered. There were certain aspects of that were retconned when the prequels came out, and the whole thing ends with Thrawn being assassinated without any of the heroes present for it. So, like, the heroes have no resolution at the end of that book trilogy. The heroes are just like, oh, they just stopped, I guess. I don't know. You know? I don't see how that... I don't see exactly how that would work.
I just know that it's been 10 years.
That too.
They've been spamming the hell out of that for 10 years.
Yes.
Okay, but
every release, this isn't. Where's the legends?
Give me Revan. I just want to see Revan.
Give me Revan. Keanu Reeves Revan.
One thing though that does give me hope is, you know, we met the people. We met people at Lucasfilm, and they were like, "We love your guys' content and what you do for the community." Con, you spent all day calling out the worst people, calling out those people, and then they invited you to come to the premiere. Lucasfilm doesn't care what those people want. Straight up, they don't want to interact with them. They actively don't pay attention to them. I was literally in a call with Leslie Headland where she was like, yeah, those people, we don't look at that stuff though. like they just actively don't care. So that is something that also gives me like a lot of hope in the fandom, because they are not going to capitulate to the people who honestly don't know what Star Wars is actually about.
They all just don't know what they're talking about either. They don't know lore. They don't know what Star Wars is. And the worst offenders are the ones that say go woke or go broke until something doesn't go broke, and therefore it's okay, I guess, you know?
I work with one of those. I hate it. Go work, go woke, or go broke. And he watches Star Wars too, and he doesn't follow me on TikTok. I don't even know if he has TikTok. He's kind of older, so like I just kind of let him ramble, and I don't really engage with him. But the whole time the Acolyte was out, he would just come to work and be like, "Oh, did you watch the new shitty Wokalite?" I'm like, "Here we fucking go at work."
Yeah. Like the biggest example was one of the Nuggets. I forget which one. Based on the trailers for Prey, they were like, this was another go woke or go broke. There's a female that does better than all of the warriors in the village, right? It comes out, everybody loves this movie, and so they changed the title of their video to It's Okay, I Guess. They're all reactionary, including their coverage. It's like they're right when they're right, but when they're wrong, it's okay. Like they just changed their messaging around it.
What's like Star Wars theory, loving every movie of the sequels until it wasn't popular to like them, and then removing those videos.
It's all about the generated bag.
Yep.
And what do we? And what's the closeout to that?
What? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sounds like it's my dinner time, fellas.
Well, we shan't keep you waiting, or shan't keep you hungry. But thank you for joining us, Khan. If you have any final thoughts on Skeleton Crew, go for it. Let the people know as well, again, where they can find you and follow you and your content.
All of my main content is on my TikTok. It's Con Skywalker, but I'm Con Skywalker on everything. So I'll be on Instagram a lot more, Blue Sky, the Lemon 8 app I mentioned. There was one more. Someone mentioned to me, Fanbase. Just trying to find somewhere to move my content to in case TikTok kicks the bucket, you know? As for Skeleton Crew, honestly, I have a pretty generic opinion, bro. I just loved the hell out of it. It was fun. I just want people to watch it and not complain until they've digested the entirety of the project. Don't start whining on episode 3 because you saw 2 moms. Like, come on.
I honestly think it's okay to critique the show, but
Definitely.
But if it comes down to whining and complaining, just don't do it.
Yes,
Just shut
Gay
up.
people existing is not a critique.
it never will be. And it's always like I was talking to my brother about it because after I made the video, I was reading some of the comments and everybody was complaining. And I was like, in that episode, we saw, I think, 5 or 6 set of parents. One of them can't be a same-sex set of parents. It's insane to me. They have to go 5 for 5 or they throw a hissy fit.
It all comes down to whenever they say we don't want politics in Star Wars, it comes down to we just want our politics in
Always.
Star Wars. So everybody in the chat, go follow Con Skywalker. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for fighting the good
Anytime
fight.
you guys want to invite me back,
Go
for
add
it.
him. Go add him on Marvel Rivals.
Con
What was the name
Skywalker
one more
on there,
time?
too.
Connor
Con
Skywalker.
Mhm.
Con Skywalker.
But,
All right. Have a good night,
all
man.
right, fellas. You guys enjoy the rest of your show. I'll probably be watching on my phone.
Appreciate it.
All right. See you
Later.
on the other side.
Later. Spooky Kitty says, just don't be a chud. I mean, it's as simple as that, really, right? But it's the most difficult thing ever in the history of mankind to achieve. Apparently. It's not really difficult from my perspective. I just wake up and be me, you know? Lo and behold. Really great to see you on here, Con. Keep up the positive Star Wars content. You're great. Absolutely. We definitely want to bring in more guests that have been fighting the good fight too. I have been trying to get, if you guys follow Age of Nostalgia, Eric debunks. But yeah, it's an ongoing process. We're on episode 197. We are 3 episodes away from the Spicy Noodle Challenge. I gotta hit up my H Mart to find a 3X bull duck. But that shouldn't be too difficult. Choco, let me look this up really quickly. Solo leveling reawakening. Oh, it's out today? You kidding me? Can you look up solo leveling around you?
Yeah, no, we can definitely look it up. Well, we should do our hot takes and wrap up first.
No, do it now. All right, some hot takes. Hot take from Spooky Kitty. Eric has been getting angry lately, and it's based. You know what? I appreciate him getting angry, because it's what we've been feeling for the past couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of the things I have actually been super excited about in the community, because in general, it feels like everyone, specifically after the election, it feels like everyone's like, all right, we're done. we're done being nice. You know, kid gloves are off.
I'm sure you guys are aware. Eric debunks Xander Hall, the Birdman, and I think now Dark Matter. You know, it is a hopeful feeling to see more and more big YouTube channels fighting back against this garbage that we've been seeing for the past couple of years. It's been a struggle for us. But I feel like as the tide shifts, as more and more people start to realize that they're not really angry, they're just being told to be angry, we'll start to see what they say in Lord of the Rings, the turn of the tide.
Yeah.
And the tide pushes forth all ships, right? Just kind of meandering around that rising tide quote. What are your guys' hot takes this week in Star Wars? Let's keep it relevant. So I'm gonna start with a really hot take because we just talked about it. I don't want to see Hondo in this show. Should I elaborate? Does anybody want to kill me?
Well, why is that?
I feel like while he thematically matches the energy of the kids, I feel like his appearance, well, rather, I'm not against his like a cameo, but like him showing up and being a part of the show, I don't want, because it doesn't serve the narrative that we've set up. Because the relationship is between the kids and Jod.
Yeah. The issue you always run into when you put in anyone recognizable is some people in the fan base will inevitably want to follow that person instead because they already have a built-in relationship with them.
Yeah, I don't want the show to swerve at all. But like, I don't even want it to be a big cameo either. Like, if the kids are like walking through the port with Jod and is like, you know, keep a low profile, let's get off this planet, and in the background you hear him going, oh, this is great, this is Borgo, like, that's awesome. But like, I don't want him to kind of intersect and kind of swerve in and be like, oh, hello, you know.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people want him to have like a solid cameo, like a Gambit cameo. But maybe at the end, you know, when his pirates are part of, this is just me kind of spitballing the ending here, like at the end when all of the pirates are helping them liberate At-Aten, like he's part of the contingent. But
yeah. Also, I mean, I can agree with that as well, because Hondo already went on that journey.
Yeah.
Already got a ragtag group of kids and fell in love with them, named his ship after them, and all this stuff. You know what I mean? So it might be. I don't want to retread the same ground with the characters. You know.
Him interacting with the kids and be like, "Oh, you remind me of Katuni." It's a little contrived. He might be a little too old at this point too. I mean,
he's a weak way. They are born looking old. There's no way to tell.
Would you mind if it was like for a single episode, like it's kind of a one and done, that's situational? It depends. I mean, if he's there to like show them where to go for one episode, maybe. But if he like inserts himself into their affairs for one episode, that's different.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'd like to see him. I don't want him to be part of the story.
Yeah. But did you have a hot take?
Hot take is that this should be a Captain EO origin story.
I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Come on, Wim starts to sing. We're here to change the world. Gonna change the world.
Exactly like that. Anybody in the chat have a hot take for Skeleton Crew? Let us know. I feel like mine's not that much of a hot take anymore. Unless you like say it to some Hondo ride or dies.
Hondo aficionados. No, I mean,
Should we see some syndicates? Or just keep it straight pirate?
specifically
Specifically the tag.
the first step of Riven Die.
Oh, okay. That was the Maxine.
I
they
mean,
were-
he's who was hired by his actions took over where the Hutt cartel left off after the death, of Jabba. They eventually win that conflict. But I mean, when you said that in the opening crawl, it says that this is the increase of piracy, and so like there would be, and we saw someone getting a Hutt cartel tattoo.
Yes.
So that struggle is probably still going on right now.
Hot take Neil is actually Darth Neil. James Kenobi. That's a bit low-hanging fruit, isn't it? It's kind of the same thing as Darth Jar Jar. I'm taking away your Talon card. Figuratively and literally. Needs more Natalie Portman? I don't disagree, but how would you rectify that with the canon?
He's there's going to be a ship that has Natalie Portman drawn on the side of it.
It's Sabe. That's an interesting question for Spooky. If Natalie Portman comes back, do you think she should play Sabe?
You already know my answer.
Hot take.
No.
Luke shows up and shows them how to really ride a speeder bike. Luke doesn't know how to ride a speeder bike. He barely knows how to ride his speeder. You will try.
Hot take. We deserve to find out what happened to the rest of the Naberi family.
Yeah.
Just saying. Padme had a sister named Sola. Sola had kids. They're running around the galaxy. Luke and Leia have blood relatives. No one knows what they are. No one cares.
I agree. To me, it's currently sitting at number 5 in my Star Wars Disney Plus shows. I am not as high on it as others. It's going to climb by the end. I don't think it. I mean, for me at least, I don't think
it's been 2 episodes. I don't have it on the list yet.
Yeah.
We're, we just put it in the oven. We gotta let it cook.
Yeah, for me personally, I wouldn't consider myself high on it, but it's going on now. This is what we're talking about. It's relevant. I'm having fun with it, but just like Choco said, need more time. No, she should just be Natalie Portman. I mean, it works.
Yeah, we need to bring Keira Knightley back in order to play Sabe.
So she comes in as the character Natalie Portman because that's already a Star Wars name. And she's married to a spooky kitty. Oh, okay. You know what? I would love to see Kira play Sabe.
I think it'd be fantastic.
She can play my wife in the movie called My Life, where Adam Driver plays you. Just kidding. That would be so torturous to have a movie of your life with Natalie Portman playing your wife and you aren't in it. Tales of the Nabari series. Or just call it Tales of the Nab. Just kind of Gen Alpha it.
I don't think that's what I would do. Speaking of which, one movie we should see is Y2K.
Why am I not? Why am I drawing blanks on that?
Y2K, it's got what's her face, who's in everything now, with the big eyes.
It's not helping.
Who's in the Hunger Games movie? Who's in the
Jennifer Lawrence?
No, the new Hunger Games movie.
Oh,
we watched
the
together.
new Snow White?
Yes.
Rachel Zegler?
Yes. So it's Rachel Zegler. The kid from Deadpool 2 that was little. He's like older.
yeah.
He's in it. But it's a movie about Y2K, and you know, like we were there. We remember it. So I've heard good things.
Oh, so it's a recent movie.
I don't even know if it's out yet. I'm pretty sure the premiere was like for the pre early screening was like last. I think it's coming out this week.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm totally down. I mean, the title alone, Y2K, made me think it was an old movie. That's why I was like, it's not ringing any bells. Lord Bloodsith says, hello, guys.
What is up?
How you doing, Lord Bloodsith? Here's a message for you.
Okay, yeah, it's out today.
It's a message for anyone on the TikTok side because of things happening on the real world side. I'm doing great. I love Skeleton Crew. We love Skeleton Crew as well. We're having fun with it. It's got great potential narratively, and we just spent the last 2 hours talking about what those potentialities could be.
And X-Core, I said Y2K is like a what if movie, right? Yeah, so you remember what we were afraid of when Y2K hit? It's like, what if that really happened? It's like a horror movie.
Dang.
It's a comedy disaster horror movie. And it's got, you know, Rachel Zegler. And there's two people who star as themselves.
Natalie Portman.
Fred Durst.
Oh, jeez. That's Y2K. Holy crap.
So Fred Durst stars as himself. And then Alicia Silverstone is also in it.
Okay. What people were afraid of? I didn't understand the hype. I mean, it's none of the computers at the time were built for anything past 2000 internally, like the internal clocks. So they
So they thought all the internal clocks were going to fail, and that we would get like
stocks would
nuclear
crash.
power plants melting down and all this stuff. And they just released a patch that I just installed on our computer. Yeah, it was definitely overhyped. If you understood computers, but
I mean,
a lot of people were very afraid.
The first thing I did when I heard about the hype was set my system date to 2001 and to see what happened. I always loved that you can do that for certain trials back then, like the perpetual Photoshop license of turning back your system date.
Yeah.
Like you put it back to like 1998 and it's like, you have 300 days left on your trial. It's like, thanks.
Speaking of which, in the game Remnant 2, that's actually something you needed. Something in the latest DLC is you input this code or whatever, but the door doesn't unlock, the doors you need, and it's because the door doesn't unlock for like 16 hours. And so everyone just turns their clock forward on their computer so that they can get the coolest bow in the entire game and most powerful bow. It does work.
Jesus Christ. I'm already in Rivals, man.
Oh, and the special mode is like you'll hit headshots and then your arrows like bounce up and then they come back down and hit them in the head again. So you can actually do crazy damage.
Jesus.
It like shoots like energy based arrows, like a stream of them. DLC was cool.
Stop it.
DLC was cool, man.
I like how I got y'all into Revenant 2 and then like you've just taken it and run with it.
Y'all peaced out.
I did buy the DLC.
So
I haven't gotten back into it.
Yeah, I was still working, and like, yeah, no, I just had a blast with it. Great game, Remnant 2. Buy it, people. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Spooky Kitty says, fun fact, Eddie Van Halen threatened Fred Durst with a gun. Not kidding. Well, I mean, that's how business is. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wish I could like hang this up in front of my face. But since it's not part of the graphics, they can't do anything, right?
Yeah, especially if it keeps moving.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Dyad in the Force 197. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me look at the calendar. You're still on for next Friday for 198. I have to keep asking because we're approaching candy
Holiday
cane
season. Yeah, as well as my anniversary.
Ooh. Happy anniversary. Give her a sloppy Jose for me.
Damn it.
Also, fun fact for everyone that's watching, this part of my arm may have something on it by that time as well, next Friday. It may be scabby. I don't know. But I am getting my first tattoo. And if you know me, you know what it's going to be. But thank you guys for hanging out for Light and Life, guys. I mean, that's our sign out. Why'd you make me read that, James Kenobi? Jesus. We'll be back. I'll be back on Tuesday. I don't know if Choco is going to be back on Tuesday I'm probably going to stream some Rivals, to be honest. But yeah, for Yoda's Hut, and then next Friday for another Dyad in the Force 198. We're getting closer and closer to the Spicy Noodle Challenge, and I want to... we're also going to be tasting some British snacks too. But Choco, any final thoughts?
No thoughts, just Neil.
Nice. No endings, just KB. Anyways, that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all Prophet.
And Con!
Master!
Bye, guys.